In the early 20th century, when the British Empire's grip on India was both powerful and exploitative, an unexpected voice emerged from Russia in support of India's liberation, that of Count Leo Tolstoy, the famed novelist of War and Peace and Anna Karenina, but also a passionate Christian anarchist and pacifist in his final years. His 1908 essay, A Letter to a Hindu, addressed to Indian nationalist Taraknath Das, is a striking document that fuses spiritual morality with political theory, calling for the liberation of India not through violence or revolution, but through nonviolent resistance rooted in love. Taraknath Das, a young Indian revolutionary in exile living in the United States, had written to Tolstoy asking for his views on India's subjugation and the path to freedom. At the time, Das was aligned with the militant Ghadar movement, advocating for armed resistance against the British Raj. Tolstoy's reply, published in the Indian newspaper Free Hindustan in 1909, served as a philosophical counterweight to the prevailing revolutionary sentiment. The letter eventually found its way into the hands of Mohandas K. Gandhi, who was then organizing the Indian community in South Africa. Gandhi called it a light for guidance, and it would help lay the philosophical foundation for his movement of Satyagraha, truth force. Tolstoy's fundamental message is clear and uncompromising. India's subjugation was not solely the fault of the British, but also of the Indian people's own participation in and the acceptance of the system imposed on them. His argument is both spiritual and practical, a call for self-purification, non-cooperation, and love as a revolutionary force.
What does it mean that 30,000 people, not athletes, but rather weak and ordinary men, have subdued 200 million vigorous, clever, and freedom-loving people? Do not the figures alone make it clear that not the English, but the Indians themselves are the cause of their slavery?
Here, Tolstoy turns the colonial narrative on its head. He denies the legitimacy of British imperialism not just because of its brutality, but because it violates the eternal law of love, which he considered the highest moral law, derived from the teachings of Christ, but mirrored in the Hindu Bhagavad Gita, a text he held in great esteem. This claim that Indians bore some responsibility for their subjugation, controversial at the time, was not intended to blame the victims, but to awaken them to their own power. Violence, Tolstoy argued, only perpetuates cycles of domination, while love, understood as a spiritual force and practical ethic, alone has the power to dismantle systems of oppression. Tolstoy's idea of nonviolence, ahimsa, resonated deeply with Hindu and Jain philosophical traditions. He saw love not merely as emotion, but as a cosmic principle, what he called the law of love, and asserted that this law was as real and binding as the law of gravity. This law, he claimed, was violated by imperialism, militarism, and violent rebellion alike. The true solution, then, was for Indians to refuse to cooperate with their oppressors, to stop paying taxes, serving in colonial administrations, or participating in the economic machinery of empire. This, in essence, prefigures Gandhi's strategy of non-cooperation and civil disobedience by nearly a decade. Though Tolstoy never visited India, A Letter to a Hindu had a profound impact on one of its greatest sons. Gandhi, who corresponded with Tolstoy in the months before the Russians' death in 1910, was deeply influenced by the letter's fusion of spiritual duty and political action. It was in Tolstoy's The Kingdom of God is Within You, in this letter that Gandhi found affirmation of his instinct that true resistance must be moral, not militaristic. In historical terms, the letter marks a crucial point in the evolution of modern nonviolent resistance as a political force. Long before Martin Luther King Jr. or Nelson Mandela, Tolstoy envisioned a world where love and conscience, not hatred or power, could bring about lasting social transformation. Furthermore, the letter demonstrates how ideas transcend geography. A Russian noble writing to an Indian exile in America inspires a South African-based Indian lawyer to begin a movement that would eventually shake the foundations of the British Empire. I hope you found this video to be informative and educational. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. Thank you.